Oh my God. Oh my actual God. I am physically unwell right now.
I am.
I am like vibrating on a frequency of pure, unfiltered chaos.
Okay, babes, you need to breathe. Take a breath.
I literally cannot breathe.
Ugh.
You think you know what goes on in the cul-de-sacs of middle America? Like, you think it's just bake sales and perfectly manicured lawns and poorly parked minivans?
I mean, yeah, an aggressively passive-aggressive neighborhood watch meeting.
No. No, these suburban wives are hiding entire, fully funded, high-production cinematic universes in their finished basements.
It's honestly terrifying.
Right. Between the faux wood paneling and, like, the holiday decoration storage, there are global, decentralized economic empires being built.
It is giving pure, unadulterated white picket fence scandal.
Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And honestly, after watching these women hide entire secret lives, we started wondering what our own biggest secrets would even be. Spoiler, probably embarrassing rather than scandalous.
Oh, highly embarrassing. Snark Squad, pull up a chair, grab a glass, because I have the darkest, most full-bodied red wine on deck for this tonight. We are strapped in and seated.
So seated.
But seriously, we need to talk about this concept of the secret life. Because, like, if someone put a hidden camera in my house, they wouldn't find a secret financial empire built on vacuum-sealed undergarments.
Oh, God, definitely not.
They'd find a deeply tragic array of minor embarrassments and, carefully constructed social lies.
Exactly. We curate our lives so heavily. Like, my biggest secret life is just me aggressively nodding through conversations where I have absolutely zero idea what is happening.
Wait, like what? Give me an example.
Just to maintain the illusion of competence.
Right.
Okay, we need to confess right now. Snark Squad, witness us. We'll go first.
I'm so ready for this.
I have spent the last, 5 years pretending I understand cryptocurrency.
Stop it. You do not.
I don't. I literally do not grasp the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
None of it. When people say blockchain, I just visualize a bunch of colorful Lego blocks on a little digital chain.
A literal chain of Legos? That is so bleak.
It is. And taxes. Don't even look at me. I just, type numbers into a software, pray to the IRS gods, and hope I don't go to federal prison.
That is basically everyone's tax strategy, to be fair.
But if someone corners me at a dinner party to talk about capital gains or Ethereum, my secret life is that I'm completely disassociating behind my eyes. I am just a meat suit smiling at them.
It's just a survival instinct. You just nod and smile until the intellectual threat passes.
Literally.
I mean, the mechanism there is purely defensive. You are shielding yourself from the vulnerability of admitting ignorance,
Exactly.
My version of that mechanism is pretending to understand the plot of literally any complex sci-fi movie.
Wait, really? Because you always sound like you know exactly what's going on.
Total lie. Oh, you want to talk about the deeper timeline implications of Inception or, like, the geopolitical sandworm economy in Dune?
The sandworms.
I will look you dead in the eye, swirl my wine, and say, well, it really makes you question the very fabric of our reality, doesn't it? Just to shut the conversation down.
Oh my God, that is so manipulative.
It works every time. I don't know what a spice melange is, and I refuse to learn. It's a defense mechanism against exhausting people who want to trap you in a monologue.
That is brilliant. You are weaponizing vague philosophy to escape boredom.
Precisely.
But okay, my embarrassing habits are even worse than faking financial literacy. Let's talk about the weird routines nobody would ever guess.
Oh, I'm scared.
Every single night, I fall victim to the most bizarre TikTok algorithms. Like, I will lose 3 hours of my life watching people power wash driveways.
Okay, power washing is oddly satisfying, though.
Or that one side of the internet where people meticulously restock their clear plastic fridge bins with organically sourced, aesthetically pleasing fruit.
The fridge restockers! It's a cult.
I don't even own clear fridge bins. My fridge looks like a crime scene of half-eaten leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
But I am addicted to watching a stranger in Utah perfectly aligned 24 cans of sparkling water.
It's the visual organization. It provides a false sense of control in a chaotic world. I completely track the psychology there.
It soothes my anxiety so much. What about you? What's your weird routine?
My weird nighttime routine is a hyper-specific neurotic ritual regarding spatial awareness.
Okay, this sounds intense already.
I cannot sleep unless my bedroom door is closed to exactly a 2-inch crack.
Wait, Exactly 2 inches?
Not closed all the way, not wide open, exactly 2 inches. If it's 3 inches, the airflow is wrong, the acoustics are wrong, and I will lie awake for hours contemplating my own mortality.
You are deeply unwell.
I am aware. Also, since we are laying our neuroses bare right now, I need to make some incredibly petty judgment.
Oh, give them to me. I love petty judgment.
I harbor a dark, silent rage toward anyone who wears outside shoes on the bed.
Oh, absolutely not. That is criminal.
Right. If you come into my home, walk on the grime-covered sidewalks of a major metropolitan area, and then place your sneaker on my duvet. In my mind, I've already drafted your obituary.
I am absolutely with you on the structural integrity of the bed. The outside shoe on the duvet is an act of domestic terrorism.
It is a biological hazard.
But my petty judgment is the door hold.
Ooh, the door hold. Break that down for me.
Let's break down the mechanics. If I go out of my way to alter my physical momentum to hold a heavy glass door open for you, and you walk through it without giving me the little wave or the verbal thank you,
Immediate rage.
I immediately hex your entire bloodline. I judge you to the core of your soul. I assume you lack basic empathy and probably ruin every interpersonal relationship you touch.
I mean, it's an intense extrapolation from a 3-second interaction, but I get it.
I feel it in my chest.
It's the breakdown of the social contract. When they ignore the held door, they are essentially telling you that your labor is invisible to them.
Exactly. Validate me.
But listen, we promised the Snark Squad a big reveal today.
Oh, God. The big reveal.
Something totally harmless but ridiculous that we've been hiding from each other in this friendship.
My heart is actually beating fast. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to say it.
Oh, yeah.
You know that season of our favorite baking show?
Oh, no.
The one with the disastrous Mexican week where they peeled avocados like they were attempting to defuse an explosive device?
I am already wincing.
Yeah.
Yes, the universally panned, culturally offensive, absolute train wreck of a season that we mutually agreed to boycott.
I secretly loved it.
Excuse me?
I loved the chaos. I told you I skipped it because I couldn't bear the cringe. But I watched it twice.
You watched it twice.
I soaked in the cringe. The failure of it fueled me. I've been living a lie for over a year. I let you go on long diatribes about the integrity of the tent, and I just nodded, knowing I had binge-watched the tacos falling apart the night before.
I'm looking at a stranger right now. The betrayal is profound.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine, because in the spirit of mutually assured destruction, I have my own confession. You know how you always recommend those incredibly dense, critically acclaimed reality TV recap deep dives?
Yeah.
And I always tell you, oh, absolutely. I listened to their exhaustive 3-hour analysis of the Scandival timeline.
Yes. Wait, do you not listen to them?
I have never listened to a single minute.
What?
Not 1 minute. I just read the Reddit summaries on my lunch break and regurgitated the top-voted comments back to you to sound culturally literate.
I feel bamboozled. You engineered a fake intellectual persona using Reddit.
I simply do not have the auditory attention span to listen to someone else break down a show for 3 hours when I can absorb the bullet points in 4 minutes.
Oh my God.
I synthesized the community's opinions and presented them to you as my own original thoughts.
Honestly, the fact that you optimize your way through reality TV discourse using crowdsourced data is the most you thing I have ever heard. I cannot even be mad.
It's just efficiency, babes.
I am just impressed by the efficiency. But speaking of things that require a high tolerance for pain and forced social interaction, we need to talk about our upcoming schedule.
Don't remind me.
Because I am looking at my calendar and I am having a visceral reaction. We are voluntarily attending another speed dating event this weekend. I need you to explain the mechanics of this to me. Why do we keep signing up for this fresh hell?
It is the definition of behavioral conditioning at its worst. Doing the exact same thing over and over, pulling the lever on the slot machine, and expecting to suddenly hit the jackpot.
A jackpot in the form of a well-adjusted, emotionally available adult in a rented-out hotel lobby.
Exactly. I look at the calendar block for speed dating, and my soul preemptively leaves my physical body.
It's the homogenization of human interaction. It's the absolute mind-numbing, soul-crushing repetition of the question, so what do you do?
Every 3 minutes, what do you do?
We are boiling human complexity down to a LinkedIn headline. If I have to explain my job one more time to a man who is clearly only looking at my forehead while he waits for his designated turn to speak, I am going to cause a scene.
It's a complete lack of curiosity.
You sit down, the little bell rings, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Dave. I'm in logistics. What do you do?" "Dave, I don't care about supply chain management. Tell me your childhood trauma."
Tell me your most toxic coping mechanism.
Skip the resume and give me the psychological profile, Dave.
See, this is where we differ. You want them to skip the resume, whereas I am practically treating the interaction like an interrogation of their resume.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I am sitting across the little cocktail table, completely ignoring the logistics spiel, and I am hyper-analyzing their micro-expressions.
Okay, FBI profiler.
I'm looking at the tightening of the jaw, the darting of the eyes, the posture. I am trying to determine the mechanism of their attention. Are they actually interested in this conversation, or are they just deploying basic human politeness software? Are they leaning in because they are captivated by my intellect, or because the music in this terrible venue is objectively too loud? It's exhausting to process that much data in 3 minutes.
But I don't think you're actually analyzing them. I think you're putting up a wall.
Excuse me.
You're turning it into a data exercise so you don't have to be vulnerable. Meanwhile, I sit down, and I'm completely unshielded.
Okay.
Want a soulmate immediately.
You do tend to spiral very quickly.
I want the cinematic fireworks. I want them to look into my eyes across the lukewarm water pitcher and say, I've been searching for you across lifetimes.
Babes, it's a Marriott conference room.
I want a rom-com montage in 3 minutes or less. I am bringing the expectations of a Victorian romance novel to a Marriott conference room.
And my bar is practically subterranean. I am just looking for someone who inherently understands the grammatical difference between there, and there.
That is a very low bar.
My expectations are on the floor, and yet the men at these events consistently bring heavy machinery to dig underneath them.
Oh my God, heavy machinery.
If you use the wrong "your" in a follow-up text, the structural integrity of my attraction collapses instantly. We need an airtight emergency exit strategy for this weekend.
We absolutely need an extraction protocol. Okay, what's the code word?
Let's workshop this.
If I text you this specific word, it means the structural integrity of my date has collapsed, and you need to come over, fake a medical emergency, and pull me away from Dave from logistics.
The code word is lasagna.
Lasagna.
If my phone lights up with the word lasagna, I will march over to your table, loudly knock over my own beverage, and inform you that your apartment's plumbing has catastrophically failed.
Perfect. Feel safer already. Babes, if we have to speed date one more time, we're going to start bringing resumes.
Honestly. But the irony of using lasagna as our panic word is not lost on me, considering the absolute architectural disaster that occurred in your kitchen last night.
Oh my God, do we have to talk about this?
We need to dissect that failure.
I am still physically recovering.
Mm-hmm.
The sheer grueling manual labor involved in making a homemade lasagna from scratch is staggering. It is a domestic marathon.
It really is.
I had this romanticized vision. I thought, I'll just whip up a nice, cozy, authentic Italian dinner.
It will be rustic.
Rustic is code for chaotic.
Cut to 4 hours later. I am covered in flour, my lower back is seizing, and my kitchen looks like a marinara explosion just occurred.
You sent me a photo. It was genuinely disturbing.
There was literally tomato sauce on my ceiling. On the ceiling. I don't understand the physics of it. How did it achieve that velocity?
Because you fundamentally misunderstood the assignment. You don't just whip up a lasagna. You construct it. Making a proper lasagna is not an act of cooking. It's an act of civil engineering.
Okay, calm down, Frank Lloyd Wright.
No, listen to me.
Yeah.
You are laying a foundation. You are layering the pasta, the ricotta mixture, the meat ragu, the mozzarella. It's exactly like constructing a tiny, structurally sound, edible apartment building.
An edible apartment building. You need to calculate load-bearing walls of pasta. If the foundation is weak, or if the ricotta mixture has too much moisture, the whole structure collapses into a swamp when you attempt to slice it. It is high-stakes masonry.
Okay, well, my masonry collapsed. And the existential dread when it finally came out of the oven.
I can only imagine.
I pulled this massive, bubbling cast iron pan out, and I realized with absolute horror that the recipe I blindly followed on the internet made enough to feed an entire suburban cul-de-sac.
The yield is always terrifying.
The pan weighed like 12 pounds.
Oh.
I live alone. What is the economic logic of this? What am I supposed to do with 12 pounds of dense structural pasta?
You're eating that for a month.
I'm going to be eating this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until the next Olympic Games.
It forces a philosophical debate about the value of domestic labor versus modern convenience, doesn't it?
No, absolutely.
Is the homemade, edible apartment building even worth the physical and emotional expenditure? When you factor in the 4 hours of labor, the structural calculations, the ceiling cleaning, and the sheer unmanageable volume of the yield, you have to ask yourself why you didn't just go to the freezer aisle.
Stuffers exists.
Stuffers exists. For exactly $7, Stuffers has already done the masonry for you.
They really have.
They have optimized the ricotta moisture levels in a laboratory. You just turn on the oven and accept the convenience of industrial food production.
I am not going to lie. After last night, Stuffers is looking like a beacon of human progress. I am officially retiring from Italian architecture.
Probably for the best.
But all this talk about feeding a massive suburban neighborhood brings up an identity crisis we've been circling all week.
Oh, here we go.
As we prep for this topic on suburban culture, I have to ask, are we actually cut out for the snark side suburban lifestyle? Or are we strictly, fundamentally city girls?
We've debated the geography of our lives endlessly. It's the classic dichotomy of space versus access.
Yeah, but I feel like I am having a complete ideological breakdown over which environment actually fits our psychological profiles.
Well, I have analyzed your habits, and I believe you're suffering from extreme delusion if you think you could survive past the city limits for more than a fiscal quarter.
I completely disagree. Wait, let me advocate for the city first, but I think I could do both.
You absolutely could not.
I could. Okay, I am Team City, primarily because I need the infrastructure of walkability. I need to know that at 2 a.m. when my anxiety spikes, I can walk out of my building and purchase a stale bagel and a concerningly cheap iced coffee from a bodega that never closes.
That is a very specific, frantic energy.
I love the density of the options. I love the chaotic noise,
Yeah.
the sirens, the people having full volume arguments on the street corner, the constant vibrating thrum of urban anxiety. It operates at the same frequency as my brain.
See, you are describing a clinical nightmare.
It soothes me. There is always something happening. And I never suffer from FOMO because the relentless pressure of humanity is always right outside my window.
You are describing sensory overload as a lifestyle choice.
Well, what's your pitch for the suburbs then?
I am firmly team suburbs. Think of the mechanics of peace, the controlled environment, the sheer, unadulterated square footage.
The square footage just means more floor to vacuum.
I want big homes with rooms that have no specific utilitarian purpose. A den, a sunroom, a finished basement. The city gives you a 200 square foot closet, charges you $3,000 a month, and calls it a cozy studio.
Okay, the rent is a valid point.
But I will concede, the suburbs have fatal structural flaws.
Thank you.
I mock the absolute horror of the required automotive dependency. The fact that you need to operate a 2-ton vehicle just to go acquire a single carton of eggs is an environmental and logistical failure.
It's awful. You can't just run downstairs.
You have to embark on a planned expedition. And then there is the surveillance.
Oh, the nosy neighbors.
In the city, the sheer density provides total anonymity. In the suburbs, it is a panopticon. Your neighbors know exactly what time your lights go out, they know what kind of recycling you put on the curb, and through sheer proximity, they eventually learn your deepest secrets.
That panopticon effect is exactly why I would argue you would thrive in the burbs.
How so?
With your need for space, quiet, and hyper-analyzing people's behavior. You'd probably become the president of the Homeowners Association just to enforce lawn height rules and draft passive-aggressive newsletters.
I would wield suburban governance like a weapon, yes.
You would,
Yeah.
but me, I would wither away. The isolation would break me. A week in a cul-de-sac without a bodega, and I'd be talking to the local wildlife just to experience a chaotic interaction.
You'd be starting drama with a squirrel.
Literally. But babes, enough about our secrets. Speed dating trauma, lasagna production facility, and city versus suburb identity crisis. Let's get into double lives of suburban wives, where apparently everyone has something to hide.
Finally, I have been waiting to unpack this material.
I'm already.
Because this premiere of Double Lives of Suburban Wives, specifically Season 1, Episode 1 titled Risky Business, which aired on TLC, is a cultural artifact.
A masterpiece of trash cinema.
It is giving high camp Desperate Housewives energy. The production value is surprisingly elevated, and it offers a deeply fascinating, almost surgical look at the modern American dream, which, based on this footage, is apparently completely and utterly dead.
The production value is the first thing that shocked me. Usually when TLC drops a new show, you expect that gritty, slightly unfocused camera work, harsh fluorescent lighting, like the raw documentary feel.
Very early 2000s reality TV.
Exactly. But this, they made aesthetic choices. The idyllic, plucky string music, the slow-motion tracking shots of these women walking through the local park, the voiceover narration.
It is explicitly copying the Mary Alice Young aesthetic from Desperate Housewives.
Yes. We have this narrator, Tammy, who talks in this soft, slightly mournful, highly judgmental tone about how secrets never stay buried forever in a small town. I was instantly hooked by how heavily stylized the vibe was.
The stylization is aggressive, which makes the promotional materials for the show all the more hilariously jarring.
Oh my God, the promos.
We need to pause and conduct a visual analysis of the cast photos. Did you notice the absolute failure of graphic design here?
It was so bad.
They look like AI-generated cut-and-paste jobs. Every single couple was inexplicably haphazardly photoshopped into the exact same generic, brightly lit park background, complete with a random prop barrel.
The wooden barrel.
A wooden barrel, who is casually posing next to a barrel in a floral prairie dress. It's giving 2006 Sears portrait studio, but generated by an algorithm that fundamentally does not understand human spatial awareness or shadows.
I had to pause my screen and just stare at the barrel. It made no contextual sense.
No, not at all.
But the location of all of this makes the aesthetic choices even more compelling. They are in the greater St. Louis, Missouri area. Specifically, we did some geographical sleuthing, and they are operating out of the tiny town of Kingswick.
The Bible Belt.
Yes, we are talking deep, traditional, hyper-religious small-town life. This is the Bible Belt's northern edge. And the juxtaposition of these women packing Tupperware for the church potluck versus them running massive, highly lucrative adult content and OnlyFans empires from their basements.
It is the absolute pinnacle of reality TV gold.
It really is.
It's not just gold, it's sociological poetry. The subtext of this entire premise, our overarching thesis for today's discussion, is the economics of suburban secrecy.
Ooh, I love that title.
The glaringly obvious truth presented by this show is that the American dream, the house, the cars, the ability for one parent to stay home with the children, is completely unsustainable on standard wages.
It's a myth now.
These couples could not survive on traditional jobs. They wanted to maintain the illusion of suburban abundance, they wanted to afford their mortgages, and the traditional 9-to-5 grind was fundamentally failing them. So what is the mechanism of their survival? They turn to the decentralized digital economy. They are selling vacuum-sealed panties and posting spicy content online to bridge the massive gap between their expenses and their income.
Which is wild.
It is a bleak, fascinating commentary on late-stage capitalism, dressed up as a trashy TLC reality show.
That thesis is so spot on. Let's break down the cast and apply that lens, starting with our narrator, Tammy.
Sure.
Or, as her thousands of paying subscribers know her, Erica Swings.
Erica Swing.
Tammy has appointed herself the glue of this group, the matriarch, the president of the secret suburban moms club. And immediately I was reacting to her visual energy.
It's a very specific energy.
She has extreme, overwhelming plant and cat lady energy. Her house is a jungle. She literally has over 100 potted plants in her house.
The sheer volume of foliage is a lot to process. But beyond the botany, we have to talk about her physical presentation, specifically her smile.
Oh, the smile.
I'm just going to analyze it structurally for a second. When Tammy smiles, the corners of her mouth do not go up towards her eyes. They pull straight across her face horizontally.
Yes. It's so weird.
It creates these two distinct, deep, vertical lines on her cheeks. It is giving intense Cabbage Patch Doll energy.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a very specific facial structure that, when combined with her soft-spoken, intensely measured voiceover, creates a highly unsettling, almost uncanny valley presence on screen.
Unsettling is exactly the word. But I actually don't think it's just her facial structure. I think it's a trained reflex.
What do you mean?
She was a vet tech for 20 years. That is a customer service smile. That is the smile of someone who has spent 2 decades delivering bad news to pet owners while trying to remain pleasant.
Oh, that's a really good point.
And now she is applying that exact same placating reflex to her marriage with her husband, Drew. Which brings us to the darkest part of her segment. We need to talk about Drew.
We absolutely must talk about Drew.
First of all, the man is visually not doing it for me. But his origin story with Tammy is alarming. They met in college. He was her RA.
A position of authority.
Her resident advisor, an official position of authority provided by the university. He tells the story on camera that he had to go knock on her door to tell her to come down for a mandatory hall meeting. She opens the door in a little nightie, and he literally thought to himself, and proudly repeats on television, "That's the one I want."
We need to unpack the mechanics of that statement. The phrase, "that's the one I want," as if she is a product sitting on a shelf in a consumer electronics store, is deeply telling.
It made my skin crawl.
It's inherently possessive, it's entirely objectifying, And it immediately sets the tone for the structural power dynamic of their entire relationship.
Huh.
From day one, he viewed her through a lens of acquisition.
Exactly.
And the fact that he was her RA, an authority figure leveraging his position to pursue a resident, is a massive ethical violation.
I agree, the power dynamic is gross, but I actually want to push back on the idea that it's purely about him viewing her as a product back then. I think he views her as a prize.
Oh, cries?
He's a sales guy. He works in high-pressure sales. His entire personality is built around closing the deal. Getting the girl in the 90 was his first big close. And we see that sales mentality completely take over their lives later on.
Connect the dots for me.
Because look at the timeline. She was a vet tech for 20 years, a job she absolutely loved. She suffered a devastating miscarriage, and then during her next pregnancy, which was categorized as high risk, she had to quit her job because being on her feet all day was physically endangering the pregnancy.
Right, the physical toll.
So the structural safety net fails them. She becomes a stay-at-home mom. Then COVID hits the economy. Drew completely loses his momentum in his six-figure sales job. The money dries up.
The desperation sets in.
And who suggests they pivot to the adult content economy? Drew. He essentially orchestrates the commodification of his wife's body because he likes buying $98 designer shirts.
It's a staggering display of financial panic masquerading as empowerment. He proudly admits on camera that the genesis of this entire enterprise was him posting a faceless photo of Tammy's rear end on social media.
Without asking.
Without really establishing firm boundaries or asking for explicit consent first. He claims he did it just to show her how hot she is, but the mechanism is control.
It's all control.
That photo goes viral. He sees the engagement metrics, his sales brain activates, and he even engineers her entire brand identity. He came up with her screen name, Erica Swings, because, according to his flawless logic, he's never met a not hot Erica.
Ew. Just ew.
The ego required for this mediocre man to take credit for her sex appeal is astounding. His self-worth, which was previously tied to his corporate sales figures, is now entirely tethered to monetizing his wife's physical form.
Yes. The financial emasculation of losing his sales income drove him to tune his wife into his new product line. And the craziest part of all of this is Tammy's internal psychological conflict.
It's palpable.
She is heavily involved in her local church. She volunteers. She is surrounded by traditional family values. She literally looks into the camera and says, with tears in her eyes, "I am contributing to somebody's lust." You can physically see the religious cognitive dissonance eating her alive.
This is where we have to observe the profound friction between these two opposing systems. We are witnessing a clash of distinct moral frameworks.
Oh, entirely.
On one side, she is deeply embedded in a hyper-conservative, puritanical religious environment that dictates strict rules about modesty and the purpose of the physical body. She is wringing her hands about the theological implications of contributing to the sin of lust.
Right.
Yet on the other side, she is actively, methodically cashing massive, life-changing checks for doing exactly that. The mental gymnastics required to reconcile her Sunday morning identity with her Monday night uploads is staggering.
It's wild to watch.
It highlights the ultimate triumph of capitalism over ideology. When the mortgage is due, theology takes a backseat to revenue.
Absolutely. The structural failure of their single income setup forced her to abandon her ideology just to survive the suburbs. Speaking of the sheer panic of financial survival, let's move on to my absolute favorite disaster of the premiere, Macy and Jim.
Oh, Macy and Jim.
Oh my God, the mechanics of this relationship are fascinating.
Let's start with the most alarming logistical detail about Macy and Jim's daily life. They share one single car.
Which is insane.
Not because they are environmentally conscious, and apparently not just because they can't afford a second one, but because, as they claim on camera, they want to spend more time together.
Lies.
This is a complete nightmare. Enforced automotive bonding is a recipe for catastrophic marital failure.
Yes.
Your car is the only true sanctuary you have as an adult with children. It is the only enclosed space where you can scream to a true crime podcast in absolute peace. To voluntarily relinquish that isolation for enforced proximity, it points to a deep underlying anxiety in the relationship.
It's giving intense, suffocating codependency. And the foundation of their relationship is already so fraught. Jim literally admitted to the cameras that he had to lose a significant amount of weight before Macy would take him seriously and agree to date him.
Which is so shallow.
Even though they grew up going to the exact same church together, her affection was conditional on his physical presentation. But their financial desperation before all this was so painfully real.
They were drowning.
Let's look at the math they presented. Jim was working a grueling sales job, putting in 60 hours a week. He was leaving the house before their young son Leo woke up and coming home right before Leo went to bed. They were drowning.
The classic American struggle.
Macy said they had no ducks in a row, and Jim literally chimed in, staring blankly, "We had no dokes."
We had no ducks. It's a beautifully tragic summation of millennial financial despair. The pond is entirely empty.
The pond is dry.
So what is the mechanism of escape when you have no ducks? You leverage the decentralized digital economy, you turn on the camera. Macy starts doing incredibly simple shower streams.
Not even high production stuff.
We are not even talking about highly produced, overtly explicit films here. We are talking about setting up an iPhone, taking a shower, washing her hair, and she walks away with $4,000 to $5,000 for an hour of her time.
It's infuriatingly easy money.
Do you understand the return on investment there? The profit margins are astronomical. There is virtually zero overhead. Furthermore, she reveals she is vacuum sealing her worn underwear to ship to fans across the country so the fabric doesn't lose its scent.
Oh, God, the logistics of that.
The logistics and supply chain management of this cottage industry are genuinely fascinating.
But the disguise. We have to talk about the physical manifestation of her paranoia. The disguise.
It is iconic for all the wrong reasons.
Macy is absolutely terrified that her father, Pastor Bruce, who leads their local congregation, will find out what she does for a living. Her online persona is named Julie the Church Girl, which is already a deeply psychological perversion of the exact thing she claims to hold sacred.
She is monetizing her own repression.
Yes. So she and Tammy are out running errands, shopping in the tiny town of Kimswick at this little boutique called Mississippi Mud Gifts. Macy suddenly gets incredibly paranoid that the other women in the shop are staring at her because they recognize her as a famous content creator.
The ego.
She is completely ignoring the fact that she is currently being followed by a massive TLC camera crew with boom mics and lighting rigs. So in a panic, she runs out to her shared car to put on her disguise.
And the execution of this disguise is a masterclass in spatial delusion.
It really is.
She reaches into her glove box, pulls out her literal persona's cheap, highly synthetic, platinum blonde Party City wig, and shoves it on her head. She pairs it with giant, oversized Jeffrey Dahmer-style aviator sunglasses. And then she walks back into the dimly lit small-town gift shop.
I was visually struck by the absurdity. I had to pause the television because the logic completely broke down.
There was no logic.
She thinks she is blending in, she thinks she's incognito, but wearing giant aviator sunglasses and a tragic, shiny wig indoors draws infinitely more attention to her physical person.
Obviously.
The older ladies in the shop are staring at her like she's experiencing a psychiatric event. She is bumping into displays because it's dark inside, and she refuses to take the sunglasses off.
It's amazing.
Is Clark Kent levels of delusion? Oh, I'll just put these glasses on and no one will know I'm Superman. Babes, they know. They can hear your voice. You are standing next to a boom operator.
It's completely counterintuitive to the goal of remaining hidden. I think this actually disproves your theory that she wants to blend in.
Wait, really?
I would argue this is a subconscious desire for exposure. The cognitive load of maintaining this massive, shameful secret from her father and her community is so heavy that she is subconsciously acting out in ways that guarantee she will be noticed.
So that's a piece.
She is weaponizing her own paranoia to make herself the center of attention,
Yeah.
which leads us perfectly to the architectural masterpiece of deception, the family dinner at Chili's.
Yes. The Chili's dinner, the ultimate arena for suburban family conflict, complete with multiple orders of Southwestern egg rolls, which they hold hands and pray over.
Amen for the egg rolls.
They are sitting in the booth with Pastor Bruce, Jim's mom, and Jim's stepmom. And Pastor Bruce is just weeping into his iced tea.
Full tears.
He is crying real, genuine tears about how Macy has such a heart for the Lord and how proud he is of her character. While Macy is sitting directly across from him, internally panicking because her basement, the basement of the house he is currently sitting in, is a dead-bolted, soundproofed studio for Julie the Church Girl.
The structural tension in that booth is suffocating. And then the waitress approaches the table and naturally asks what the massive camera crew is filming.
And Jim doesn't even stutter.
Jim doesn't even blink. He lies directly, smoothly to Pastor Bruce's face and says they are filming a documentary for a new St. Louis Moms television show.
The St. Louis Moms show.
The sheer volume of deceit happening over a plate of jalapeno poppers is staggering. I am looking at the trajectory of the storyline, and I am predicting an apocalyptic family fallout.
It's going to be so bad.
When Pastor Bruce inevitably discovers that the wholesome St. Louis mom show is actually a chronicle of his beloved daughter vacuum sealing her unwashed undergarments for strangers on the internet, the emotional fallout will be biblical. The foundation of that family will crack.
It is going to be magnificent, devastating reality TV.
Yeah.
The collision of those two worlds is inevitable. But let's pivot from the anxiety of the middle class to the wealthy royalty of the group, Briana and Phil.
Ah, the newly wealthy.
Their economic trajectory is the most extreme example of our thesis. Bree used to be a highly respected high school English teacher with a master's degree. Phil was a blue-collar worker who got laid off from his job.
They were struggling.
They were actively drowning in the suburbs, struggling with basic utilities, behind on their rent. So Bree, utilizing the only asset she had left, started a spicy content account.
Before we delve into the economics of her career pivot, we must immediately address the visual anomaly that is Phil.
Oh my God, Phil.
Because the entire cast of women, and apparently the internet at large, is deeply, genuinely armacted to Phil. And I need to analyze this analytically because I am completely baffled by the visual evidence presented to me.
I am spiraling over Phil. I do not understand the mechanics of his appeal. All the women want him, but we have to talk about his hair.
The hair is a crime.
He has a horrific hairstyle. It is a literal double mullet. It's a party in the front, a party in the back, and what looks like a dormant woodland creature resting comfortably in the middle of his scalp.
It defies all logic of male grooming.
Yet, he carries himself with this undeniable, effortless swagger. And somehow, despite the architectural disaster on his head, he is universally agreed upon by the cast as the hottest husband on the show. I am confused by my own reaction to him.
It speaks to a deep underlying rejection of corporate aesthetics.
What do you mean?
Phil is not trying to look like a polished, LinkedIn-ready sales guy like Drew. Phil's aesthetic is a complete rejection of the 9-to-5 uniform. In a suburban ecosystem filled with hyper-curated, anxious men trying to maintain an illusion of control, Phil represents unapologetic authenticity.
That is actually so true.
The double mullet is terrible, yes, but it is confident. Furthermore, the dearth of viable, supportive men in this particular social circle makes him stand out. Phil is the one-eyed king in the land of the visually impaired.
The bar is in hell.
Exactly. But beyond his hair, their story highlights the absolute failure of the American educational system.
Exactly. Let's look at the mechanics of her scandal. Bree's secret was exposed. Someone found her account. She was outed to her school district as an adult creator. She was officially fired from her teaching job.
A total witch hunt.
It wasn't just a quiet resignation. It was a massive, highly publicized local news scandal. The community tried to exile her.
But the attempted exile triggered a massive Streisand effect.
They made her famous.
The community tried to shame her into obscurity. But in the digital economy, attention is currency, regardless of the moral context. The scandal was the greatest marketing campaign she could have ever asked for.
It really was.
Her exposure caused her subscriber base to skyrocket from a modest 500 loyal fans to 45,000 paying subscribers almost overnight. Let's look at the math. They went from making an extra $2,000 a month to bridge the gap to pulling in $200,000 a month.
I still can't wrap my head around that number.
They eventually hit $1.5 million in revenue. They built a massive party barn on their property. They are wildly, absurdly, generationally wealthy now, entirely because the public school system failed to pay a master's degree holder a living wage, and then subsequently tried to shame her for fixing the problem herself.
Yes. The system punished her, and the internet rewarded her. And that massive influx of wealth affords them a certain level of brazenness that the other couples don't have.
Oh, they are completely unhinged now.
Because cut to the next scene. Bree and Tammy are out shopping for cowboy outfits for Phil's 37th birthday hoedown. They walk into a local Western wear boutique. They go into a tiny dressing room together, and they literally go live on their platforms from inside dressing room.
In public.
They are actively flashing their chests to their thousands of subscribers, while regular, everyday customers are just trying to shop for denim and boots in the stall right next door.
The absolute erasure of the boundary between public and private space is terrifying. There is a complete lack of spatial awareness.
None at all.
They are operating a digital strip club from within a Midwestern retail establishment. There are innocent people trying on bootcut jeans 3 feet away, and they are putting on a live, monetized peep show.
It's unhinged. The commodification of all physical space, everything in their lives, no matter where they are, becomes potential content. Which brings us to the social dynamics and the fallout of living a life entirely for an audience, specifically the beef between Bree and Megan.
Yes, let's introduce the final piece of the puzzle. Megan is a distinct aesthetic departure from the rest of the group. Let's set the stage for her vibe.
Megan is entirely her own cinematic universe. She is the only brunette in a sea of aggressively bleached bottle blondes.
A dark contrast.
She comes from a multi-generational family of morticians. She drives a literal functional hearse around the brightly lit suburban streets.
Iconic.
It's giving intense suburban Morticia Adams, and I am completely obsessed with her presentation. And the critical piece of backstory, she used to be a high school teacher right down the hall from Bree. They were work besties. They were in the trenches of the public school system together.
But in the present day, they are entirely estranged. The tension is palpable, and the drama finally comes to a head at Phil's birthday hoedown, which is held in the newly constructed party barn.
The hoedown was a mess.
I want to note a surreal visual detail from this party. Several of the guests are wearing literal Lone Ranger masks over their eyes to hide their identities because they're also secret creators. It is a bizarre, modern masquerade ball.
It was so weird.
Amidst this chaos, Bree pulls Megan up to the wooden loft of the barn to finally hash out why Megan has been ghosting her for months.
And the resulting confrontation is a complete manufactured nothing burger. It is structurally infuriating as a viewer.
Truly frustrating television.
Bree directly asks what happened, and Megan flat out refuses to say why she's mad. She claims Bree did something unspeakable, something unforgivable, but she just sits there slowly petting her dark hair, looking at the cameras and saying, I can't say it. I just can't. You know what you did.
Vague booking in real life.
It's vague booking, but performed live on national television. She is baiting the audience.
It is deeply manipulative, highly produced reality TV behavior. She is intentionally withholding the narrative payload. But let's apply the Snark side analytical theory to this interaction.
Let's do it.
Let's look at the structural history between these two women. We know, as a matter of public record, that Bree got caught by the school principal and was subsequently fired in a blaze of glory. We know Megan was teaching in the classroom right down the hall and is now also doing adult content and driving a hearse full-time.
Okay, I see where you're going.
My theory, and I'm putting this on the record right now, when Bree got hauled into the administrative office and her entire life was blowing up, she panicked. Did she throw Megan under the bus to deflect the heat?
Oh my God.
Did she point the finger at her best friend and say, well, Megan does it too? And inadvertently or intentionally get Megan fired as well?
Oh my God. The mechanics of that betrayal make perfect sense. Bree tanked Megan's teaching career to take the heat off herself.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
It explains the depth of the resentment. The suspense is infuriating, but that theory structurally aligns with everything we know about their timeline. I cannot wait for the producers to finally drop that secret. But the episode doesn't end in the party barn.
No, it gives us one last gift.
We get one final set piece, the Planet Fitness disaster, which is a cinematic masterpiece of modern irony.
Break down the physical logistics of this scene for us. What exactly is happening?
Okay, so Tammy, Macy, and Bree decide to go to a local gym. They are in full standard athletic wear. Leggings, t-shirts, sneakers.
Totally normal.
They're not filming spicy content on their phones. They're literally just walking side by side on 3 treadmills, having a hushed conversation, filming a standard B-roll scene for the TLC camera crew. They're just existing in a public commercial space.
And then the physical world violently reacts to their digital footprint.
It was so abrupt.
The gym management approaches them, interrupts their workout, and unequivocally kicks them out of the building.
Kicks them out in the middle of the day. And why? Because someone working at the front desk, or perhaps a random gym-goer on an elliptical, Googled Briana's real name, remembered the viral local news story about the naked English teacher, and decided they didn't want the wholesome environment of a Planet Fitness associated with creators.
A Planet Fitness. The judgment.
Bree's jaw literally drops. She cannot compute the rejection.
And this is where the psychological weight of the episode peaks. Macy has a total catastrophic emotional meltdown in the parking lot.
She lost it.
Because this moment shatters her entire illusion. She realizes viscerally that coming out with this secret to her father and her town doesn't just mean she gets to live her truth. It means she is actually going to be actively judged. She is going to be treated like a pariah, excluded from basic commercial spaces, and shunned by the very community she grew up in. The reality of societal exile crashes down on her.
It is deeply sad to watch her panic, but I also have to point out the hypocrisy.
Precisely. Let's frame this objectively. The rich irony of the situation is undeniable. These women, particularly Macy and Tammy, are deeply entrenched in hyper-religious, traditional values environments.
Very conservative circles.
They participate in systems that routinely judge and exclude people who do not adhere to strict moral codes. Now, they're suddenly facing the exact same judgmental, exclusionary, puritanical policing that their own community wields against outsiders.
It's karma.
They are experiencing the sharp end of the conservative stick. It is a profound structural moment of reality, piercing their carefully curated, highly lucrative digital bubbles. The internet has weaponized local community policing. A secret life cannot exist in a vacuum anymore because your digital footprint will always bleed into your physical geography.
That is such a brilliant read on the mechanism of modern exile. The sociological friction is thicker than the ricotta layer in my failed lasagna.
Which brings us perfectly to our favorite part of the discussion. Let's get into segment 1, secret or suspicious.
Yes, bring on the judgment.
I'm going to read off the biggest, most questionable moments from the premiere, and we have to rapidly judge whether the behavior is totally innocent, a little suspicious, definitely hiding something, or call the cameras immediately.
I am ready. I am vibrating with judgment. Hit me with the first scenario.
First up for analysis. Drew taking it upon himself to post a faceless photo of Tammy's butt on the internet, allegedly to boost her confidence, without explicitly sitting down and asking for her consent first.
Call the cameras immediately.
Agreed.
This is a massive structural imbalance of power from day one.
Yeah.
You do not monetize your spouse's physical body without a full boardroom meeting, a PowerPoint presentation on the risks, and a signed consent form. That is gross, controlling behavior masquerading as husbandly support. He was testing the market value of his wife. Call the cameras.
I am in complete agreement with that assessment. The mechanism was control, not support. Next scenario. Macy utilizing her literal porn persona's platinum blonde Party City wig and oversized aviator sunglasses as a disguise while shopping in a tiny, dimly lit small-town gift shop because she thought the locals were looking at her.
Oh, definitely hiding something.
Yeah.
But it is the dumbest hiding spot in the history of espionage.
It is terrible.
It's like a toddler putting a sheer curtain over their face and genuinely believing they have achieved invisibility. She is hiding, but she is executing it so poorly. The part of me thinks she deserves to be caught just for the sheer lack of tactical planning.
It highlights a severe lack of critical thinking skills under pressure. But as I argued earlier, I truly believe it's a structural breakdown. She wants the facade to collapse because maintaining it is too exhausting.
Totally. Okay, next one.
Final scenario for this segment. Megan sitting in the loft at the birthday hoedown, flatly refusing to articulate what Bree did to ruin their friendship, repeatedly claiming she just can't talk about it, while the TLC boom mics are hovering inches above her head.
A little suspicious.
Oh.
No, wait, actually, I am upgrading that to extremely suspicious.
Tell me why.
I accuse Megan of stepping out of the role of cast member and into the role of producer. She knows the mechanics of reality television. If she drops the ultimate secret in episode 1, she has no narrative arc for the rest of the season. She is actively withholding the tea to guarantee her screen time and secure her contract for season 2. It's a calculated economic decision.
It is entirely calculated. She is managing her own storyline to secure the bag. I respect the hustle of the maneuver, but as a viewer, I despise the execution. It's frustrating television.
Very frustrating.
Moving on to segment 2, Suburban Group Chat. Let's apply our thesis to the digital realm and generate some hilarious, highly plausible fake text messages based on the chaos we just witnessed. I want to see the unseen digital communication of Kimswick.
Oh, I have the perfect one. Let's imagine the family group chat. This is a text from Pastor Bruce to the family thread, sent from the passenger seat of his car right after the Chili's dinner.
Read it.
Ding! Praise the Lord for Macy's exciting new opportunity with the St. Louis Moms documentary crew. Though I admit I am slightly confused by the director's vision. Why do they need to film her feeding little Leo his gummy vitamins while she wears a sheer 90s nightgown? Regardless, God works in mysterious ways. So proud of my girl.
That is painfully, agonizingly accurate to the delusion of a parent who refuses to see the truth right in front of them.
The gummy vitamins.
Let's look at the corporate side. Here is an internal emergency text from the Planet Fitness shift manager directly to regional corporate headquarters.
Oh, let's hear it.
Ding. Code red at the Kimswick location. The viral naked English teacher is currently utilizing treadmill 4. A massive camera crew is rolling. Do I throw a 15-pound kettlebell at the lens, or do I call the local police? Awaiting immediate structural instructions on how to enforce the morality clause.
I am dead. The panic of the shift manager.
They did not train him for this.
Okay, last one. This is a frantic logistics-based text from Macy to Jim, sent while she is hyperventilating in their shared car outside Mississippi Mudgives, trying to adjust her wig.
Give it to me.
Ding. Jim, did you remember to vacuum seal the Tuesday batch of underwear? The Chili's bill was incredibly high today. Those egg rolls add up. We need to clear at least $400 in shipping by tomorrow to cover the mortgage. Also, this synthetic wig is giving me a severe rash. Please bring hydrocortisone when you get off work.
The seamless blending of mundane marital logistics with the absurd reality of the adult content supply chain. It's perfection.
It really writes itself.
Which leads us to our final segment of the discussion. What happens next? We need to look into the Snark side crystal ball and make our predictions for the rest of the season.
Ooh, predictions.
First prediction, what is the very next secret to be exposed on camera?
I think we finally get the payoff for the loft scene. We're going to find out exactly what Bree did to Megan to sever that friendship.
I agree, the narrative demands a resolution. And I stand by my earlier hypothesis. It definitely involves Bree utilizing Megan as a human shield and getting her fired to save her own skin.
Or what if it's financial?
Like a stolen collab.
Yes, maybe Bree stole a massive, highly lucrative collaboration opportunity from Megan. It's a story of professional sabotage within the creator economy.
That's very plausible. Next prediction. Which marriage or relationship is facing imminent structural collapse?
Tammy and Drew. I am calling the time of death right now.
Defend your claim.
Let's look at the foundation. Drew's entire fragile ego and his sense of masculine worth are currently tied to Tammy's financial success and his ability to control her brand as her unofficial manager.
Correct.
But Tammy's religious guilt, that intense cognitive dissonance, is eventually going to tear her psyche apart. She is going to reach a breaking point where she wants to stop filming, and Drew is going to absolutely panic because he has grown accustomed to the revenue stream and his designer shirts.
He loves the shirts.
The tectonic plates of her religious ideology and his financial greed are grinding against each other. It's not a matter of if an earthquake happens, but when. That marriage is fundamentally doomed.
An incredibly astute observation on the power dynamics. Next. Who is going to get caught by their community first?
Macy. It has to be Macy.
It absolutely has to be Macy. The geographical math is against her. She literally lives in a town of roughly 500 people.
Everyone knows everyone.
She walks around commercial spaces in a disguise that actively draws the human eye toward her. Furthermore, the studio is in her own house. Pastor Bruce is going to casually walk down the basement stairs to drop off a frozen casserole, and he is going to walk straight into a live feed of Julie the Church Girl. The jig will be unequivocally, catastrophically up.
The casserole collision. I can't wait for that episode.
Okay, give me one completely ridiculous prediction for the end of the season that somehow, within the twisted logic of this town, feels entirely possible.
Ooh. Let me think. Okay, you give me one first.
Let's talk about Heather. We barely met Heather in the premiere. She is presented as the hyper-organized corporate mom with 4 kids who is always shuttling them to soccer practice.
Yeah, she was very brief.
My completely ridiculous yet structurally plausible prediction is that Heather is actually the logistical mastermind running all of their digital accounts. She is the Suburban kingpin. She is taking a 15% management cut of every single shower stream and every vacuum-sealed panty sold in the greater Kingswick area. She is using her corporate project management skills to optimize their algorithms.
Oh my God. Heather the Kingpin. She's managing the supply chain. I love that theory so much. Snark Squad, you heard the thesis here first.
Well, we have unpacked the mechanics of the secrets, the architectural failure of the lasagna, the sociology of the double mullet, and the undeniable tragic death of the American dream. Snark Squad, it's time to hear from you. We need your data.
Yes. Get in the comments, hit us up on all our socials. We need to know, what is your funniest, most harmless secret? Come on, tell us about the weird TikTok algorithms that soothe your anxiety at 2 a.m.
Don't be shy.
Also, would you ever voluntarily subject yourself to the homogenization of speed dating? Or would you rather vacuum seal your underwear for a living in your basement? Because honestly, after analyzing the mechanics of both, the latter sounds significantly less emotionally exhausting.
It really does.
And finally, settle the debate. Are you team city or team suburbs? Argue it out in the comments.
And as you ponder those logistical questions, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought.
Well,
We've spent this time laughing at the cheap wigs, the poorly planned hoedowns, and the absurd disguises. But I want you to think about the core economic premise of what we just watched. If the traditional American dream, owning a three-bedroom home, raising children, having one parent available to spend time with those children, if all of that now requires suburban moms to sell spicy content online to a decentralized audience just to afford that life and escape the crushing reality of a 60-hour work week, what does that say about the rest of us clocking our standard 9 to 5s?
Oh, wow.
Are these women the delusional ones for turning to the internet to bridge the gap, or are we the delusional ones for quietly believing the old economic system still works?
Wow. Okay. The implications of that are deeply dark and profoundly unsettling.
Mhm.
I'm going to be thinking about the structural failure of the middle class while I try to scrub the marinara sauce off my ceiling tonight.
Good luck with the masonry.
Thanks, babes.
Sure.
Stay nosy, stay mysterious, and we'll see you on the Snark side.